Hello, my beautiful grief growers. It's Shelby Forsythia coming at you on this Thursday live Facebook video. Thank you so much for joining in and tuning in with me today. Today, as seen in the section below, we're going to talk about the concept of spiritual bypassing, which is actually a relatively new concept for me, but the instant I heard it, I knew it had something to do with grief, and I had to talk about it on my show as well. If you're not listening to the show to which I am referring is called Coming Back. It's the free podcast I publish every week where conversations on life after loss, where we're talking to people about what it means to lose really valuable things in our lives, whether that's loved ones, jobs, relationships, partners, pets, children, dreams. We're talking about what it means to really lose those things, and then what calls us to come back to our lives in the aftermath of that. And you can find this podcast, it's called Coming Back. You can find it on iTunes, you can find it on Stitcher, you can find it actually on YouTube. Every episode is uploaded to YouTube. If you know somebody who's not tech savvy and up with the phone lingo, you can definitely send them to YouTube or share episodes that way. You can also find it on Google Play, which is a Google app in the Google Store, or on TuneIn, which is an app that you can use for Amazon Alexa to listen to podcasts. So hello to everyone. I'm seeing some eyeballs on this, and would love to know what spiritual patterns or beliefs or mentalities that you believe in your day-to-day life that maybe could possibly prevent you from grieving. Some that are very, very common that I've heard about just doing some research on spiritual bypassing are: think good thoughts and you raise your vibration, or everything in life is meant to be a lesson to be learned. So we're looking to get information from every experience that happens to us in our lives. Or think it and show it, so it shall be. And also just like the universal religious belief that sometimes gets thrown out at funerals, which is everything happens for a reason, or divine order, divine timing, paying karmic debt, etc., etc., etc. So if any of these resonate with you, I really want to hear how they're applicable in your life. So please comment below. I would love to see them pop up as we're going through the broadcast today. So to talk a little bit about spiritual bypassing, I'll actually define it for you, and then we'll talk about why it's dangerous or kind of risky, especially in the world of grief. So the concept of spiritual bypassing was introduced in the 1980s by a psychologist or psychiatrist. I'm not sure which one he is. He's in the psych community though. And it's the process of using spiritual beliefs, using spiritual or religious mentalities to totally skip over the pain of an event, to skip over feeling your feelings or whatever's coming up for you as a result of something that's happened in your life. So by spiritually bypassing something, you're going from step 1 to step 3 without completing this middle section here. And what's in the middle section is actually feeling through your pain, feeling through your loss, taking on and holding for a moment all of these emotions and uncomfortableness and uncertainty and kind of the gritty ugliness of what pain is, what is cracking you open. So step 1 is, oh my gosh, a loss has happened, what do I do about it? Step 3 is, here's all the things you're taking away and learning from that loss. And the middle section is really feeling into it and really acknowledging that it's something that's happening to you. So spiritual bypassing is going from that step 1 to something has happened, there's a recognition that something has happened, all the way to step 3, which is, what can I take away from this? How can I make it a mantra? How can I shift it so that it is not painful for me? But the trick with that, in order for these spiritual concepts to actually work for you in your life, you have to feel into the pain and experience the pain and release the pain first before you can make a lesson of your life experience. So that is the danger of spiritual bypassing, is moving from step 1 to step 3 without any of the grit in the middle. I want to elaborate a little bit on a reference that I made in the podcast but didn't really expound upon. There is a book by Brene Brown entitled Rising Strong, and this is one of my favorite books on resilience, on coming back, on taking the crappy things that happen to us and changing them into something different. It actually is a very spiritually enlightening and uplifting book. If that's up your alley, I would definitely check it out. But there's a part in the book where she talks about leading workshops for people. I believe this is close to the beginning of the book. And she does this bit on when in these workshops and people are creating storylines for films, there's a moment in time when they're creating on what they call day 2, and day 2 is the day of sorting out plot lines, struggling with conflicts, addressing everything that's hard and personal and deeply rooted and unsolved. It's all these mysteries and anguishes and problems of life, and you struggle with it. And everybody in this workshop, everybody who's a part of being in this experience together, everybody hates day 2. But here's the thing about day 2: you can't skip it. In order to reap the rewards from your experience, everything that you planted on day 1, you must experience day 2 in order to reap the benefits that appear on day 3, which is a completed storyline, life lessons with the knowledge of experience, with the experience of experience. And there's just this lovely phrase that so connects to spiritual bypassing of you cannot skip day 2. And I know that the author Glennon Doyle Melton uses this in her work as well, and she compares it to the Christian belief in the crucifixion, where day 2 is the darkness. Day 1, he was crucified. Day 2, he was dead and buried. Day 3, he rose again. And you can't skip day 2, because day 2 is this darkness, this uncertainty, this not knowing, but you cannot feel the immense joy and the immense power and the immense self-actualization that comes on day 3, knowing that he is risen. You are risen in your own life story without first feeling through the darkness that is the second day. You can't just... Part of it has to do with the platitude of you can't have everything you want in your own time, in your own way, but a lot of the reasoning for that in grief is that you cannot fully appreciate the experience of living without dying first. Hang on one moment. So I want to talk to you today a little bit about that. I just wanted to introduce this concept of spiritual bypassing to you, because I think it's really important that we know what that looks and feels like. So some symptoms of being spiritually bypassing are seeming detached from pain. And there's kind of an elevated belief in enlightened or woke communities that if you are detached from your pain and your suffering, you are somehow transcendent of it, that somehow you have overcome it. But there's also a danger in that, in spiritual bypassing, where you're actually denying your pain. You are replacing something that feels bad with something that feels and looks good. And it looks like you're kind of in this Zen mode with everything that's happened in your life, but really what's happened is you haven't addressed it, or instead choosing to focus on this higher or better message. But all of that pain under there is still this undercurrent that has gone unaddressed. And there is some danger in that, especially in platitudes like, think about what you want, for you manifest what you think. And you can be thinking about what you want all day long, but if you don't address everything that's underneath it, everything that you don't want to be feeling, those are the lessons that are going to keep coming up for you. So the spiritual bypassing has ways of working itself out, but I definitely want to know where you see spiritual bypassing happening in your own life, or if you've seen it happening in somebody else's life and you just want to shoot this video over to share with them. I'll tell you one last thing before I get off for the day, and thank you, both of you, all of you who have decided to join me today. I see some eyeballs up on the top of the screen. I want to share with you kind of a funny tongue-in-cheek that I used on the show, because spiritual bypassing is all about focusing on the light, focusing on what expands us, focusing on manifesting the positive, what have you, the light, airy, fairy, fluffy stuff. And in order to relieve the effects of spiritual bypassing, in order to really feel into ourselves and experience day 2, we have to do what I like to call turning off the light. And it's kind of abnormal for me, because I'm a person whose motto is, even through grief, we are growing in finding the light in that darkness. But we really do have to turn off the lights, to really sit with pain, to sit across from ourselves at a table and say, I'm so sorry this happened to you. I'm so sorry this is your life today. I hate where I am now. This is not where I wanted to be. This is not what I wanted my life to look like. I never thought I'd be alone. I never thought I'd be in this. I'd never, wanted this to be the picture of who I identify myself to be at this point in time, we have to feel these feelings of, hey, that's not fair. Hey, I don't feel safe in this world anymore. Hey, I have been made a victim by this situation. We can't tamp down those voices with spiritual platitudes because they will keep returning to us over and over again. So the best thing we can do for them is to sit with them and turn off that light. And this is often manifested in scheduling time for yourself, in your own world, whether that's first thing in the morning or at night, by yourself. Just time to sit with your mind, sit with your life, look at your life, your lifetime, your life story, and really focus on it there. Or to take part in activities that can root you into yourself and remind you of where you have come from and the pain that you've experienced, whether that's volunteering with a group, whether that's chatting with somebody you really love and knows your whole story, whether that's chatting with somebody who has never heard any of your story and you're recounting it for the first time. Living through that pain is what will bring you to the realizations that spirituality provides. But if you're just experiencing the initial shock of the pain and then reaching for these spiritual realizations, you miss all of that heart work in the middle. And that's really the lesson and the truth that we are asked to receive and be taught by grief. So that's the divine message I have for you today. Our podcast this week is very spiritual. So if that's something that interests you, I really encourage you to tune in and share with your friends. Would love to hear your thoughts on spiritual bypassing as well, so please comment below above wherever the comments show up for you during this live video. And of course, I will be seeing you next Thursday for our next Facebook Live. I am so thrilled that all of you were here today. Thanks so much. Bye. Oh my goodness, I won't even finish.